I recently watched a few video tutorials showing how to do maintenance on a VCR. I posted a video to my YouTube and TikTok. So I thought now I'm going to just have an attempt myself, at least have a look, see what's going on with it. Because what's happening is with mine, it's been chewing up tapes. So it's literally grabbing hold of them and not liking to eject properly. And it's actually ruining some of the tape, unfortunately. It's a really nice VCR, but something needs to happen. So I haven't plugged it in yet. I'm just going to have to remove a few screws. Hopefully they'll come out quite easily. I haven't attempted to take this lid off at all ever. I just think, to be honest, it's like anything, isn't it? We don't tend to tamper with things until things get really old, and then you've got no choice but to sort of like have a go. So I've got two screws, one screw on the front, on the side, and one on the back this side, and it's the same on the other. So it's not many screws. In the videos, people using power tools, and I just think, what the hell, man? It's just a screwdriver. Just get a screwdriver. Just crazy. So, part of me is hoping it's dusty because you know what I mean. If there can be obvious signs, it saves a lot of problems. If it's like pure clean, and then it becomes a bit more of a troubleshooting issue, doesn't it? Because I don't know if it's going to be just the generic issues. It might be like a belt. It could be anything at this point. We're trying to figure out where it would lift. I'm sure it's just got to lift that way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So now we got it off. Um, I've got to say, I'm actually quite impressed because it's old. I've had this since maybe 20 years. I've had it about at least 20 years, and it's. I mean, there's dust in there. Let's be honest. I can see the dust now. Um, yeah, it's definitely dust going on in here. I can also see where the tracks are, where these move back and forth. There's some scraping going on here. So I'm not sure if it needs if that sort of thing requires any lubrication because if it does, I don't think it's got any. Um, Heavily dusty. And it looks like to this side here to the left here. I don't know what the nodules are and things, but that looks like it's potentially getting rusty here. This roller is what I was most concerned with. Is it having issues? Because it might be because that, from my understanding, is the thing that keeps the retention, so it keeps the tape taut. So that this little black bit here, don't know if it's quite clear in the video there. That's the thing I'm sort of like a little bit hyper focused towards. This, from my understanding, now is the heads. And these are what pull the video back, and this is what it's getting clung on to. So that one feels looser than that one, from what I'm thinking a little bit. Oh, it's quite dusty to be totally honest. In here, very dusty in this section here. I'm not sure how clear that's coming out, but right down here we've got a lot of dust. I'm not sure if I've got a spray can. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to blow it out. I'll pause it while I try and do this because it's going to create a lot of mess, and then we'll come back to continuing. So I've dusted it as best I can. In the end, I've had to just manually blow. The compressed air can I got was fluctuating between air and juice coming out of it. Really, you can't be having that on electronics. So I thought the risk's too high. And then I just started using this microfiber cloth there to just really just get into bits. That's really the plan so far. Is really just to get the dust because obviously we don't have dust on parts. At this point, though, oh look, we've got stuff here. So where the tray comes in, it seems to be there's dust coming in the bottom part there, which we'd expect. All right. So in the videos I've seen, you've got the head here. They're saying do not touch the metal bit on here. You've got to try and you just can rotate it from the top. I'll probably just hold a microfiber thing, maybe do it if I do it. Because I'm not sure if my heads actually need cleaning. That's going to affect the video quality, and I'm happy with my video quality, so I don't know if it's worth going down that path yet. I have got the alcohol. So I did buy the alcohol that people have recommended. Like it's just rubbing alcohol, 99% off Amazon. Um, and there's certain parts that maybe need doing. So, for instance, there's an audio sensor here which I'm thinking might be useful. But then I don't know if it was the tape that was the issue in the first place. I've really just got to see why it's jamming, and I'm a little worried it's going to be one of the cogs or something. I'm a little bit worried now because I can see a potential problem. There's a little piece of, it looks like paper here, and I'm not sure if that's the belt, and it's around one of the black ones, but this one doesn't have one, and I'm not sure if it's supposed to. I don't know if we can see it there. These black things, this one doesn't have. This one doesn't have the tape thing. But I just had something that was loose, and I'm not sure if it was that. Let me go and grab it a minute. And I've got a funny feeling it may be that, which it might be why it's jamming. Because if one isn't turning, maybe that's part of the spools. You know, where the tape goes. Do they both need one? So ideally, I would need to go back and watch videos really to check. So I've got this little piece of paper. I think it's just paper, to be honest. But the length, it doesn't look the same. This one looks slightly thicker anyway. But these belt things, I've got no idea about what they are. They look so fragile. That white bit, you see, where around with the wraps that's wrapping around the black thing. I think that might be. I'm not sure if the other one needs it. If it does, then it's missing. So yeah, we've got a bit. Maybe we've got an issue there. So we'll just see what happens. I'm going to put a video in. I've got it. Hopefully, I've got it plugged in. Yeah, I've replugged it in. So we're going to just pick one. I've picked a film that's not my favourite because I don't want to risk things at this point. So we just see sort of how it reacts. So what we're expecting is we're expecting these two here to push the tape to around the drum here, this thing, drum here, where it's the head, where it's the heads, and then it'll go close to this sensor for the audio. It all looks fine to me. So I don't even know what I'm looking for. So we'll see what happens. On the face of it, what I'm seeing, it looks fine. It looks, you know, the way it's now it's really going to be when it lets go. So it seems fine while it's playing. So that's interesting. So we haven't done anything yet. This is where we're gonna have a problem. We're gonna stop it, press stop, and now we're gonna do eject and see what part, realistically, what part's slower than the others, because that's what I think is gonna be the issue. So that came out fine. What I'm wondering, is there a part? Is there like if you've got a piece of tape that's not, like for instance, my water well's a bit ruined in one place now. Is that section likely to cause problems with the tape? So we'll do it again. This time I'm going to fast forward it. So we'll stop, fast forward. So that's fine. I'm going to press play. Usually I press stop and then play. I'm just going to go straight into play. What I'm noticing, just only off, just noticing really, is the top of the black bit that I was a bit concerned with. It just looks slightly dusty on top, but nothing too bad, and everything's functioning. Stop, and we do eject. It's that's weird. So that's done. That's performed perfectly fine. It's it's all doing its job. You know, the pins are going fine there. It's going around the head. It's going to pass the audio part, and it's allowing the tension things working fine. Um, Like, I've invested in the rubbing alcohol, but I just at this point I don't see the point because it's going to be they're the contact points, you know, like the audio. And like I say, I'm not really seeing a visual problem with my videos when I'm watching them. It's literally just the chewing, and I'm just trying to understand. So my only thought is maybe the belts are going a bit funny sometimes. But this tape, I think this tape's probably in pristine condition. But once I put one that's not in pristine condition, what I might do is try water welding it then, because I want to see. Because I bet what if water weld itself, because it might show me what it's like. If a tape doesn't sit snug, does it become loose? That's a bit of an issue, isn't it? So we'll try that if I can find this pause button. We get that film, we'll see what happens. So water weld is my most susceptible. Oh, it's got the wrong thing. We do it here. Is the it's most susceptible video. It's it's got issues. The tape now. Don't know if you can see it there. You can see it's not pristine anymore. And I want to see what happens when that goes on there. So it might be a case of don't risk putting tapes in that are not because maybe they can do more damage than it's worth it. This is going to be worrying. I think normally when you put something in, it plays. This one isn't playing, so I don't know what's going on. It's like the tension. It can't get the tension. It cannot get that tape to turn properly. It's like it's locked or something. It looks slightly loose around this spool one around here. There's one around here. That one looks a little bit loose to me here. I don't know how clear it is really, where it's looping around the last one before it gets to that black bit. I'm a little worried it's going to get clogged now, but then that's kind of the point, isn't it? Because we haven't even played. It's not even wanted to play. So I press stop, even though it's stopped anyway. I'm not sure if power's on, actually. No, it's actually turning itself off. Right, now it's loosened. Now it's put itself back together for some weird reason. Now I'm pressing eject. So that worked, but I could see the problem it was having. That was not effortless. It didn't like it at all. So effectively, what's happening when you get these? Just checking this part here. I'm not this pin here where it's at an angle. I'm just wondering if they're supposed to be. I need to check another video to make sure. So that one's at an angle there, but maybe it's supposed to be. Not sure. Got to keep my eye on it. So effectively, because this tape's chewed, it's not sitting snug around this. It's all a bit loose, and the VCR just is not liking it. So that's giving me the impression that once the tape's ruined, it can become incredibly susceptible to more chaos inside your video VCR. But the question really comes down to why did it get chewed in the first place? You know, that's really the worry because it played like for instance, I put this Crocodile Dundee one in, which looks perfect, and it hasn't had an issue at all. As soon as I put it in, it should start spinning round. So it's in straight away, spinning with no issue at all. I don't know if you can see that. So what I'll do, I'll put the other one in, and you'll see immediately. I'm not pressing anything else with eject. Yeah, it's quite incredible the little intricacies with the movements it needs to do. Now we put water well back in, and for some reason I'm having trouble tightening it manually. It doesn't want to go around. I don't know if it's just normal for that, but the fact that I'm having trouble makes sense that it's having trouble. So we'll put it in. See, it tried to turn and it just stopped, and then it just turns it off. So there's something going on in the tape itself where it does not want to turn. And there's nothing I can make this VCR do to do it. So we're doing eject now. We've got to turn it on again because it's turned itself off. And now we're going to try and eject it. Now it's chewed it up. Now it's chewed it up. What got stuck? So it got stuck on the last pin here. But obviously, with the VCR off, it's a lot easier to recover a chewed tape, isn't it? So you can literally get it out, but it's just going to cause more trouble than it's worth. The whole process of getting this out without breaking it, is such a problem. Oh, you got to spin it the other way. It's getting annoying. Try it again. See if it works. Looks a bit tighter that time. No, it's slowing. It's jamming. It's jamming. It's stuck. And now I think it's turned itself off again. So I think it becomes less of a problem with the VCR and more problem with the video itself. Yep, it's caught on the same part again. It's too loose. That's a worry. Oh, I've got to try and keep that flap open. There you go. Again, it's all loose. So I'm manually winding it here. Make it taut. So it's fine once it's doing a certain part, but as soon as it gets near that frayed section, it doesn't like it. I don't know if there's something I can do here. Oh, that's my button there, isn't it? That's the latch there. Try another film. So one works, one doesn't. We've got the signs, but signs I have problems with the sound. Now I can't replicate the sound because I've not got the TV plugged in. I haven't got plugged into any device. Just want to see what happens. So we're going to try and replicate some things here. We're going to try and see if I can do anything. So we're going to stop. We'll do fast forward. So once it goes fast, of course, parts are having to move really fast now. That's quite incredible. So it's moving like really fast, but where it's around all the like loops and things, it doesn't actually look like it's moving. Only when I stared at it, I could see it moving. I thought that's weird. Pretty cool. Press stop. Press play. Like playing anyway. One would assume it's working fine. And then we'll do, so you can see it spinning. And then we'll do eject again. Fine. So it's weird, isn't it? It's replicated only in the video that gets chewed. So what I'm starting to see here is a video that's already damaged is what is very susceptible to continual damage and it won't maybe even not even play back. But I'm not seeing any sort of continual issues with damage to the disc. But like I said, I had the audio issue with the video. But the trouble is, I don't know at this point whether it's the video itself. Like I bought it used, of course. I don't know if it was ever sounding great before the someone had it. You know, where it does that machine gun noise. So is it parts? I know I can wipe it with the alcohol to clean parts and sensors, but if it's not them, there's no. What's the point of me touching anything when it works, when it functions? You know. So we do science again. We'll do a fast forward. So we stop it. We'll fast forward it. I am tilting it, by the way, so I'm not sure if that's really wise, but it's the best I can do, really. So mine has a good. I don't know if they all come with these inputs. Mine, for instance, has two SCART sockets, audio out, RCA's. Then there's two aerials as well. One says aerial in, one says aerial out. So effectively, I think it's to connect other devices so you can record. As you can see, it's turning fine at a fair pace. So that I was a bit worried about that. Maybe that other one's missing something, but it wasn't. I don't think it is. So now we're going to do an ejection, and we'll see what happens. Of course, we're going to have to turn it the other way because it will never open now. I would try. Do a slight angle. It's ejecting. So for me personally, from doing these tests, we're quite clearly seeing that once a video is an issue, it's an issue. So we do water weld again. Remember last time it had trouble turning? It's stuck again. It turns itself off as well. I've just tried stopping there to stop it. Now it's turned itself off again. So I press fast forward. I think it's ejecting. It's not happy with it's not happy with that at all. And again, it's got caught on the loop. See, there's here. It should have cleared that. But because it's not tight, it's not going back where how it should. It's getting left behind and getting caught on the last straggler, really. It's not ideal at all. So now I've got to be delicate getting it out, which, you wouldn't necessarily see all that from the outside. It's a shame, especially when you consider how rare videotapes are now. It's not that easy to replace these. So what I'm seeing here is that certain sides turn, the other side doesn't turn so much. But yeah, it's a shame. It just seems like that's completely out now from my collection. So I've opened it up with the intention of cleaning it, but like I say, I don't really want to go down the path of touching anything unnecessarily, really. I may clean the sensor, but is it worth any of this? Oh yeah, this is interesting. It's got a print here, so it must be the manufacturer. 30th of June, 2001. 2001, so it is. It's 23 years old. Um, so maybe one of the last generations of VCR, really, because it was a really, like I said, it's a really good one. I think it's, I don't know, I don't know how you tell how many heads it's got. I think it's these gaps. One, two, four, three, four. I think it's four heads. I don't know. Um, it's a really nice VCR, to be totally honest, and it just wanted to be reliable. But I think what's interesting is it's not hard to discern where the problems are when you open it up and look. I'm not a freaking electronics engineer. I can build computers and do things like that. And I think anyone can sort of just use some sense and look at what part's going to cause problems. And in all honesty, the only thing I'm seeing wrong with this right now, mechanically, is the fact that this tape, the tape for water weld, for instance, because it's already chewed, it's not tight. So it doesn't go tight enough around the head and things. It's just a bit slightly loose. And for that reason, it doesn't retract. But for some reason, it's not spinning. I don't understand. I don't really understand why, because I can't manually spin it either. Well, I can spin it to shut it, but for some reason, once it goes in there, that one, these cannot find the tension. I think to spin it, it's like the tape's just completely jammed inside. So it makes you wonder whether inside this whole drum, whether there's an issue. I don't know if you can take that apart. Let's have a look at taking a tape apart. That's a new thing altogether, isn't it? I don't know if I'm going to put it back together if I do it. Where's my screwdriver? Oh, I don't think my screwdriver's. Yeah, I might need one. So we'll have a look, see if we can take the tape apart, because it's beyond useless at this point, isn't it? Have a look. To be honest, I've got the Page Master. It arrives damaged. Like, people don't always package them so well. Considering, like I said, how rare some of these films are, I think it's stupid they don't protect them. So I'm thinking of trying to get a replacement case and put it inside that. It could very well be. This could end up a replacement case, because if I can't recover Waterworld, then I have to just accept that I've lost it. But it does beg the question: why did it chew up in the first place? You know, that's where the problem stems. It's that it must have had. Where's the mechanical problem? I think personally, if a part slows or jams slightly, it can cause an absolute problem with the device. So from my understanding, that's all the screws, and then it looks like it's just half. Maybe you got to open this. Oh wait, when it got the tape, we've got the tape section here. So that becomes a bit of an issue, doesn't it? We're trying to take it off. I think we want to take it off from the top. Ah. All right, so we've got we've got the water welder part. Now we've got the two spools like you would in a cinema. You know when you got the spools with the things. That's pretty cool. What am I looking at? Is the trouble? Just trying to understand really why it doesn't turn. So why there's so much tension? I think surely these just turn both ways. They should just naturally turn, shouldn't they? Because one's got the thing, and I think one drags the other. I don't know how it works. I don't want to break it. There's a lot of tension right there. A lot of tension. I've done too much. Not sure how you'd figure that out. Yeah. Okay, so this thing here that deals with locking it. That allows, by the look of it. Okay. So it's that little mechanism there is the thing. This thing here is the thing that allows these to turn. And when that's not released, it won't turn. But it's turning now. But I'm not sure they turn at the same rate. So it makes me wonder whether the cassette is it the cassette or the tape? Because it might be that it might be that this mechanism is just jammed. You know, like where the video don't where the videos had problems. Maybe it's caused an issue with this mechanism. Okay, so that moves there. But how does that tell it to not be there? Yeah, it's doing that. So I'm just wondering if there's like a misalignment at any point causes problems. It doesn't like turning. Only turns once you release this. Now I've lost track of what I was doing. But then this one's got one as well. Yeah. So that one you take off. It's like a black one and there's a white one. And somehow, I think somehow they're supposed to open like this and then it'll move. Is my guess. I'm not sure they're moving at the same pace, by the way. And then that locks. So something's telling me potentially something might have come loose. But it looks okay to me. I just don't know what this black bit here is. I think it's that. That black bit there pushes. Okay. So this black bit here, I'll probably show it out of camera. This black bit here, I'll have to how clear that is. It pushes into these pins. And then when the pins open up, I mean, my mic, let me move the mic a little bit. When you push that, the pins open. And then that allows these spools to spin. But then when that pin there shuts, all of a sudden it jams them. So when it goes into this machine, I'm assuming there's some way. So like there's a hole on the other side of this. Yeah, it's where that hole is. I don't know if we can see it. Try not to make anything fall out. There's a hole at the bottom of this. I can't really show you without making the whole thing fall apart. I don't want to risk it. Let me show you on a different video. You, I think it is. So weird, it's there. This one in the middle. There's a hole. But it doesn't look like it penetrates in anything, which is weird. But it's within there that mechanism sits. And it seems to be that might be the thing that's jammed. So if it opens, the spool turns. If it doesn't open, of course, it jammed to shit. And it just locks itself, really. Perpetual state of being locked. So I'm not really sure what can be done to recover that. But effectively, I'm seeing that potentially is the tape issue rather than I don't really want to take apart a healthy tape. Really. Um, yeah. So anyway, that's what that looks like. So we can easily put it back together. Is that tight enough? I don't know. And then we just put the tape back. So I didn't realize you could take these apart. In all honesty, I never knew you could do that. So that's pretty cool. So I'm actually liking that because, for instance, I've got the Page Master. If I can't, but this tape might be broke. So what it might be worth doing. Let's say this tape's broke. Let's say it's the tape itself, the mechanism in my tape that's broke, and it's not the tape. Even though the tape isn't perfect, it can still work. It might be worth me trying to either buy some cheap VHS tapes of films I don't care about, and then just replace the spool inside and put that one in because I think that'd be perfect viable. Or just get blank tapes and swap them out. But it shows that there's ways to recover your VHS tapes. I think. For instance, like I said, the PageMaster one I've got is it's smashed on the top where it got delivered. Um, so it's a frustration. I can't put that in my VCR because the risk of it getting jammed, pieces falling off, it's just not worth it. But if I can get that recovered, I'll be so happy. Yes, it won't be in its original form. It won't really have a resale value specifically because the sticker won't match. And it'll probably be a whole effort trying to get that sticker to go back in, but that'd be interesting. This ain't going back in. Oh, is it the wrong hole? Huh. I think it's the wrong hole. God knows what's supposed to go in there. Whoops. So I know we haven't really managed to achieve a little bit, but what I've managed to do is diagnose my own personal thing. Like, I don't think there's a point of tampering with things that don't need tampering with. I don't mind if I know something's broke, I'll fix it and I'll have a go. But if I know that part's functioning, there's no genuine reason right now. Because like I say in science, for instance, it's not like the audio is always a problem. It's a specific part. So I'm thinking it's probably the tape. So there's no point me tampering with anything right now and starting to add chemicals and things. There is like a capacitor or something here that's bent down. I don't want to do too much because if I turn it, last thing I want is to snap it. So we put water well back in. Final check. Let's see what happens. I don't think we fixed that issue. Oh, look really. I'm trying to think what does what. Well, that looks like it's going round now, doesn't it? I think we fixed it by fixing the tape rather than the VCR. But having said that, it looks like it might be slowing at certain sections. So what we'll do another little test before we get there. I think sometimes it's a case of fix the tape. Quite excited. If I'm totally honest with you, I'm quite excited that it's turning out to be a tape issue rather than a VCR issue. Who would have thought that? It's doing it. Remember, it jammed my entire machine before. It would not even turn. And now we'll press play again to make sure it works. Spinning. I'm happy. Now this is going to be the moment of truth. We're going to press stop. And we're going to press eject. And let's see if this thing comes out this time. It come in, I think. Holy shit. I fixed it. I fixed it. Oh my god. Genius in the making, I think. And I haven't actually had to do anything touching it with solvents or anything at this point. It's just literally take the tape apart, have a little play with the mechanism, move it past the broken spool bit. The reality is, though, I can't get into that exact section now because I would assume the tape would be perfect. Yeah. So there's obviously a broken part of my tape that might get jammed, and when it does, I may have a problem. But I haven't had any other jams. I've used two other tapes. This one's working. So I'm happy. So if anyone else has a similar issue, it might be worth just exploring what tapes are causing your problems, um, and maybe open it up and just see about it too, because there's literally just a little tiny little mechanism there that controls the switch to allow the cogs to open and close. And when they're closed, it just won't spin, which makes sense. When it goes in, it wasn't spinning. As soon as I was messing with it a little bit and changing the tension of the tape, because I think that's potentially what part of it was, all of a sudden it started working. So I've spent money on this, but it's in the same way, for instance, with my laptop. My gaming laptop, I bought new paste, thermal paste for it, but it's a whole process to take the motherboard apart, and it's a whole process to get to the actual CPU and GPU to repaste it. And I was going to do all that, but then I found some settings you can change in BIOS and things just to throttle the temperatures a bit. And I kid you not, the performance of my laptop has been incredible. I play video games at really high frame rates, and I'm thinking it's not. Yeah, maybe I could still get a slight improvement out of it, but it's not worth the issue of potentially damaging it if I do it wrong. Um, it's just not worth it. Now, in this case, I don't think you're going to do anything wrong. But anytime I think you touch that head, whether it's with paper, whether it's cotton buds, anything, you're still risking contact with it and damage. And I don't think personally at this point in time, just to apply some cleaning fluid putting alcohol on it to remove any residues or anything on them, is worth the risk of me actually damaging the head that seems to be functioning okay anyway. So if I start getting, for instance, a lot of audio issues, I will open this up and I will just clean the audio part and I'll focus on that. I'm just going to clean whatever I think needs doing at a given moment, and I'll keep track of this. Um, yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, this is literally what is probably going to be an ongoing process now. So if it gets jammed, for instance, I'll just take the cover off. It's literally 4 screws, 2 side, two at the back, and then I'll just watch how the mechanism's working. But for the most part, at this point, I sort of have an idea that it's the tape. But yeah, we learn something new every day, and save myself a headache. Because I'm quite confident that that it's reliable. I was a bit worried because I'm getting some rare films now, and the last thing I want to do is put a rare film in the VCR, and it just starts ruining everything. So I'll test it a little longer at home, and if there's any future issues, I'll do a video and I'll show the cleaning process I find. Because it's all trial and error. I just think that's the most important thing. It's not just to follow a guide and just follow what everyone's doing, because it might not replicate what you're doing. I just have an understanding. You clean the heads, you're cleaning the visual quality. My visual's fine. You clean the audio sensor, and it'll clean up the audio. But apart from very certain sections of a film, it was fine. I don't get big problems throughout the film. I think personally it's the tapes. So there's certain sections of tapes that are an issue, and they show their age. They can have issues with age, and of course VCRs can. You don't know what issues someone's had with the videos. So that's me resolving my paper jam problem. It actually was the cassette itself needed to almost like be reset. I think really within itself. Who would have thought?